Today, I would like to talk to you about a very, very important topic, and that is the risk of diabetes. The risk of diabetes is increasing. Many more people are either being diagnosed as being diabetic, or you're being told you're borderline diabetic and now you need to do something about it. It's very important that you don't ignore this, because there are so many complications that come down the road if you do get the diagnosis of diabetes. Because it's not just that diabetes diagnosis, it's that risk it will have an effect on your future life. It could affect your kidneys, it could affect your nerves, it can affect your eyesight as well. It increases your risk of things like cataracts, glaucoma. It affects, also your mobility. It can affect your limbs. It has also an effect on heart health as well. So why take this risk when you know that it is in your own hands to actually make a change? Too many people think, well, I'm not at risk, I'll just let it be. But actually, most of us are at risk because of the types of foods that we're eating. So the foods we're eating can either increase our risk of type 2 diabetes, or what we are eating will help us to actually reduce this risk of type 2 diabetes. And I'm sure you want to have more of the foods that are reducing your risk of type 2 diabetes. Let me ask you a question. When you are crossing the road, don't you always stop and check where the traffic is coming from, and you only cross the road when it's safe? And think about this when it comes to your health. Stop, pause, have a look at what you're eating, rather than just, rushing across and eating whatever's in front of you. There are many causes that result to diabetes, but food is a very big one. And with food, yes, we know the common culprit is sugar. And what happens with sugary foods is, if we are consuming too many of these sugary foods, it can lead to insulin resistance. So when we eat sugary foods, it causes a spike in our blood glucose levels. And if we begin to have these spikes happening too frequently, it can over time weaken the insulin response, which will then be the precursor to type 2 diabetes. The second cause through our diet is actually having high-fat foods. And what happens is, when you're having a lot of high-fat foods, it increases your risk of being overweight, obese, and this can also then lead to insulin resistance. So let's not take this risk, right? Let's just look after ourselves, because you're the only one who can look after yourself the best way and reduce these future risks. We have Diwali coming up very soon, and many of us might be thinking, well, Diwali comes once a year, let me just enjoy myself and I'll think about it afterwards. Diwali just happens on one day. It's not the month before and the month after. What you've got to begin thinking about, what has become a habit? What are your current eating habits? What are you eating on a regular basis? If you're having these snacks occasionally, that's fine. But for many of us, it's not something that we have just once in a while. It becomes almost a daily habit. You might be having foods such as samosas, you might be having pakoras, or you might be also having the sweet foods like rasmalai, gulab jamun, jalebi, kaju katli, right? There are so many different types of Indian snack foods that we all love to eat, including things like gajar halwa, kheer, which are our comfort foods. We've grown up eating them. They take us back to, the past with all those beautiful memories that we had. But if you continue eating a certain way, your future self is not going to help you. So let's not have overindulgence in these foods, and instead, even when making these foods, create them in a way so that they are healthier ingredients being used when making them. I always encourage my clients not to just do something once and then most of the time just eat unhealthily, but think about what you're doing consistently. So I have an upcoming Diwali cooking class. In this Diwali cooking class, I'm going to be sharing what ingredients to use that help to reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes. I'm sharing some amazingly easy recipes for you to try. I have got things like my healthy laddus, which are naturally low in sugar, and they are also high in fiber, and you learn why that happens. I'm also going to be sharing things such as my barfi recipe, which is really easy to make. I'm making a besan barfi, which uses natural sugars and uses less of the sugars as well. I'm also going to be sharing with you some healthy, savory snacks, such as having a chaat and having, tikkis that are filling and satisfying. Plus, I have 6 bonus recipes for recipes such as kaju katli and gajar halwa. So if you're thinking about staying healthy and being healthy, come and join my cooking class. I look forward to joining you.